Welcome back, my people, to Coffee, Crochet, and Conversation. So, quick life check-in. I have been battling a head cold, and honestly, it was kind of wiping me out. So, I had to put my crochet projects on pause because I did not want to ick all over my yum. Running was on pause, and my legs were ecstatic. But my brain was screaming, "We're falling behind!" And I'm like, behind what? No clue. Probably just, my anxiety doing its daily cardio cartwheels. So before we dive in, a big old shout out to Michigan, because according to my Spotify stats, you have taken over as the #1 location for where people stream me from. And since I live in Ohio, I just thought I would say, howdy neighbor. Thank you for representing. I also want to send a special thank you to Catherine PP6QW and Enzo Flash Bath 3365. Both of you left nice reviews on comments on my YouTube. And you guys seriously made my day. So thank you for giving me my small win. Last week's episode was meant for this, so just a joke, where we tackled imposter syndrome and told Earl to go kick rocks. Today, we're going to meet Earl's dumbass bestie, social anxiety. You know, the one that brews Earl's coffee every morning so he can start running his mouth. Yeah, that awkward boss fight we never signed up for, but somehow keep respawning into. Because listen, I have never met a small talk situation I did not immediately want to escape from. Either I am trying to slink out of the room, or I am ducking down 3 shopping aisles at Walmart just to avoid someone that I know. And if I do get pinned, you bet I will be replaying whatever conversation I have in my head for 3 months straight, usually at 2 a.m. Grab your coffee, grab your yarn, and let's get started on today's topic. So, let's talk about social anxiety, or what I like to call the panic that comes when you're expected to people. I do not like two people. I personally operate in 2 modes: total silence or complete word vomit. There is no middle ground. Either I'm standing there like a malfunctioning Siri, "Sorry, I didn't understand. Please say it again." Or I am oversharing my entire life story to the poor barista at the coffee shop, who asked me how my day was going, but really doesn't care. She just wants me to take my coffee and leave. And when I have to make a phone call, that's an event. I will spend at least 30 minutes planning what I have to say, writing out any potential questions I might have, potential questions they might have, and all the possible answers. And then, when I'm done, I'll spend hours dissecting every word that was said, wondering if I accidentally offended Sharon on the other end by saying thanks too quickly, or if I accidentally said "I love you" when I hung up. My brain is like, congratulations, you are now the star of an unwanted Friends episode. Monica's at home telling Chandler about the weirdo who called today. And physically, my body loves to join in the chaos. I always tell people, you cannot tell when I'm having an anxiety attack by my face. Look at my hands. I will start rubbing my hands together like I'm a Disney villain plotting something evil against the princess. My leg is also probably bouncing like it's training for a marathon all by itself. And usually, I'm only half listening because I'm too busy in my head rehearsing what I want to say. And by the time I actually respond, I've already run the conversation through my head 15 times and completely missed what everybody else has said. So I'll be talking yarn and they're talking football. Here's the kicker. Social anxiety is not just being shy. Oh no. It is a full-blown mental gymnastics with a side of panic for seasoning. It's the art of trying to sound normal while your brain is auditioning for Cirque de Anxiety Vegas edition. and bitch was given a 6-month stint. Avoidance becomes your best friend. Canceling plans, dodging phone calls, pretending you just didn't see the message. I tell everybody, I will sit here and watch that phone ring. And it feels good in the moment, like you escaped. But in reality, it just keeps that loop going because whoever called you is probably going to either call back or expect a return phone call. So your anxiety loop is just going around and around like a hamster on espresso. Mind my dog. I'm trying to do this at a different time of day than I normally do. So instead of the cats today, we have the dog. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. I tell people, don't call me for something you can text me because you'll get a response faster. And speaking of chaos loops, let's head into today's Stitched Happens. Because of course, anxiety doesn't just hit in a social setting. Oh no, it loves to crash land right in the middle of my day. So, picture this. It's the very first day that we brought the cats home. Sky and Cloud, we adopted them at the same time. And my sweet little Sky, she's my long-haired calico. She's the brave one. She was the first to leave the room and explore the house. Well, when we adopted her, she had just recovered from a tapeworm, and she was finally starting to eat, and was putting on some weight. She was barely 4 pounds when they got her. And what was her grand welcome to my new home gift? Diarrhea. So here's the thing about long-haired cats. When it's liquid poop, it does not stay contained in the box. Oh no. Fur goes from fur to a poop paintbrush that nobody asked for. And this paintbrush has legs. It travels. It's like Jackson Pollock, the horror edition. Suddenly, there's poop in her fur, poop on her tail, and then that goes on the walls and the floor and every spot in the house that she hit while she was trying to explore her new home. So now you know what comes next. I had to bathe her. And this poor cat, she doesn't know us. She doesn't know the house. She doesn't trust humans. And now I am coming at her with a towel and betrayal in my eyes. If you've ever bathed a cat, you know it's not giving a bath. It is surviving a battle without chainmail. There is hissing, her. Flailing, me. Cussing, again, me. Possibly some regret, probably from both of us. And the faint sound of my dignity swirling down the drain right alongside half a bottle of cat shampoo. By the end of it, Sky is clean. We're both traumatized. And we're sitting there vibrating with anxiety. Her, because she was dumped like a tiny fluffy demon. And me, because I just spent 20 minutes washing poop off a creature who hates water almost as much as I hate being the center of attention. So, yay, anxiety all around. But hey, we bonded through the chaos, and Stitch happens, right? So how do we deal with all this? Because let's be real, we can't just avoid every awkward conversation forever, no matter how tempting that sounds. Trust me, I've tried numerous times and failed. Life is full of times that we have to people. And for some reason, everyone expects us to pretend like we're all functioning adults the second we turn 18. So for me, it's all about tiny coping tools and small wins. Sometimes it's taking a few deep breaths and humming Earl Had to Die before walking into a room. Sometimes it's by grounding myself, feeling my feet on the floor, noticing my surroundings, reminding my brain that I am not, in fact, being hunted by high school bullies. And other times, well, it's just a full-on fake it till you make it energy. Because sometimes that's what confidence is. It isn't a feeling, it's a tone of voice you practice until your brain catches up. Turn those shaking boots into a mini dance routine, and no one can tell the difference. But the biggest thing I've learned Self-compassion works way better than self-criticism. My brain loves to go, "Why are you so awkward?" And I have to gently remind it, because I'm human, Karen. Be kind to yourself for trying, because that's where the real growth happens. Take me at school functions. I'm a booster mom, which means I occasionally have to socialize with real-life people. They want my advice on the ins and outs of online school. Every time, I freak out. My anxiety's like, abort mission, you are not qualified. But my desire to help is stronger than my desire to hide. So I show up, sweaty palms and all, and every time I leave thinking, all right, it wasn't that bad. And you know what? I've learned just to embrace the awkward. If I'm going to panic, I might as well panic in style. That is literally the reason why I started dyeing my hair wild colors. And I was full-on goth in high school. I'm talking dog collar, black lipstick, big boots. If people were going to talk about me, well, I damn sure was going to give them something to talk about that I controlled. You can talk about me, but I'll make sure it's about what I choose. So yeah, social anxiety is still hanging around, but now it's more like that annoying sidekick than the main villain. And that, my friends, is progress. All right, refill your cup. It's time for Bruise News. All right, our first up for Bruise News is Epstein, because I will not let this story die. So, Congress may be on vacation, but accountability does not get holidays. The highlights updates is Attorney General Pam Bondi's Senate Judiciary hearing. She was pressed on Epstein-related documents, and she avoided giving clear answers. No confirmations, but also no denials, just evasions. And that kind of dodging the questions actually speaks louder than any statement would have. Members of the Oversight Committee are again reminding the public they want Maxwell to come in under oath and testify before the House Oversight Committee members. They had previously asked her to testify, but they were waiting to see if the Supreme Court was going to take her appeal. They did not, so the Oversight Committee is restating that they want her under oath. So here's your reminder. Do not let the quiet fool you. Keep asking your reps where they stand on the Epstein files. Some stories only disappear when we, the people, stop talking about them. Shutdown update. The government shutdown is still dragging on, and the White House is leaning into it like it's a power move. Budget Director Russell Voigt is in the eye of the storm. And now even his allies are blurting out the quiet parts. Senator Mike Lee joked that Voigt's been waiting for this since puberties, while real deal mass layoffs loom for federal workers. Meanwhile, Trump frames the shutdown as an opportunity to slash what he calls Democrat programs. Programs like WIC Nutrition for women, infants, and children may run out of federal funds within weeks. States are bracing to try and cover the gap. So while Congress fights over talking points, actual families are going to be losing income and children are at risk. Pain is no longer collateral damage, it's central. The last story I want to talk about is the Qatar Air Force Base on U.S. soil. This is one giant red flag. The Trump administration just approved a training facility for the Qatar Emiri Air Force in Idaho. Yeah, you heard that right. A Mountain Home Air Force base. Qatari pilots flying U.S.-made F-15s will train under this agreement. So while it is not technically a Qatar base, the U.S. keeps control. The optics of this are wild. According to CBS and AP reporting, Qatar will fund the construction with local contractors under U.S. supervision. The deal is framed as it's deepening military partnerships, but the concerns are real. Why are we granting a foreign military such access on U.S. territory, even if it is under U.S. control? What are the long-term precedents and security implications? And what about the quid pro quo side deals we may not be seeing yet? While it's not legally a foreign base, it is a dedicated Qatari facility inside of a US base. This is not small. The permission precedent matters. One last thing before we wrap this up is this Saturday, October 18th, it will be the No Kings 2.0. So if you are able to and want to, find your local protest. And I'd love to see pictures. All right, that's your latest Bruise news. Messy, political, but necessary. So let's talk about connection over perfection. Here's the thing. Social anxiety doesn't just mess with solo moments. It actually sneaks into our sense of community too. Even online, where I should feel safer behind a screen, I still get that little inner gremlin whispering, "You're being weird," every time I post something, or every time I hit upload on this podcast. It will push me to check and recheck, read and reread everything, while debating if I should just delete it all and disappear into the void. But the funny thing is, the more I lean into connection over perfection, the better everything feels. I have met many amazing people through podcasting, crochet groups, autism parent groups, online school groups, folks who totally get that showing up imperfectly is still showing up. Some of my groups, like my OCD and my health anxiety groups, have been there for me when times were really bad. That's heart of community right there. We are all just messy little humans trying to connect over something we love, or maybe it's shared pain. Stitches, stories, shared chaos. For a long time, I thought I had to perform. I had to say the right thing. I had to sound polished. I had to be a version of myself that everyone would accept. The first few times I experimented with making YouTube videos, I felt like I had to prove every word I said, like I was a walking citation list, just to show I knew what I was talking about. And a 10-minute video would turn into a half-hour video because I had to show my proof. And honestly, it's exhausting. Being real, whether it's sweaty, awkward, you have an occasional dog barking in the background, whatever it is. Like this weird gap right now because I lost my plate. Yeah, whatever it is. Occasional oversharing. It's so much more healing. You guys enjoy me because I'm being real and honest. And I remind myself I don't have to be perfect. Because being brave isn't about being fearless. It's about being sweaty and awkward. I'm doing it anyway. And honestly, that's where the magic happens. So if you're listening, then you're struggling with this too, just know you're not broken. You're not behind. We're not all racing to the finish line here. And you are definitely not alone. You are just learning to exist out loud in a world that sometimes acts like anything louder than a whisper is just too much. And I felt like too much my entire life. But I finally realized, to the people who matter, those who truly get me, I'm not too much. I am just the perfect amount. And with that, let's shuffle the vibe a little and move on to our weekly shuffle happens. All right, it's time for shuffle happens. We are working our way through my Sacred Kingdom deck. And this week, we've got the Chariot. The artwork on this card is stunning. So picture this. It is a wide desert landscape, open and powerful. At the center stands a larger than life white tiger, muscles rippling, golden eyes locked forward with a fierce, unwavering gaze. In front of the tiger stands a strong black woman, wind whipping through her long, wild hair. She wears a jeweled headband with a black opal on her forehead. She has gold and black wrapping her in equal parts armor and grace. Her expression is not smiling, but it's not angry. It is just focused. She is determined. She knows the tiger has her back, and she knows she can conquer anything standing in her way. The Chariot upright is all about willpower, determination, and pushing through resistance. It's that reminder that even when things feel chaotic, you still hold the reins. It's the energy of saying, yeah, I'm scared, but I'm showing up anyway. But here's the interesting part. Sometimes the Chariot will show up reversed, which flips the message a little. That can mean feeling stuck, scattered, or pulled in too many directions, losing momentum, or feeling like everything's slipping out of your hands. The universe might be nudging you to slow down, reassess, and realign before charging ahead full force. And honestly, that ties perfectly in today's theme of social anxiety. Because showing up when your brain's screaming, run, takes the same strength this card radiates. But it's also reminding us that it's okay to feel scattered, to pause, and then steer consciously instead of letting the anxiety take the wheel. So this week, I'm going to carry this reflection with me. Even when my brain screams run, the Chariot reminds me I can steer through it, and that it's okay to pause and adjust along the way. Because steering isn't about never swerving. It's about choosing your lane again and again. And this will especially hit me this coming weekend because I have a wedding to go to, which is a social situation. I will gather up my Chariot strength and go and remind myself to show up anyway. And with that, let's wrap this up. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Coffee, Crochet, and Conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry, my dog has been his sound effect self today. This is what happens when I try to record in the evening and not first thing in the morning. Either way, remember, showing up counts, even if it's just one tiny step, one awkward interaction, or one small victory. Every time you show up, you're building courage, even if it doesn't feel flashy. That's how I get through this podcast week after week. A few people like it now, and hopefully, if I keep showing up, more will come. Very Field of Dream vibes. I'd love to hear about your own awkward victories. Don't be shy. Share them online. Drop a comment. Send me a message. We're all learning to navigate this messy, beautiful thing called life together. And who knows? Your story might even become the next Stitch Happens feature of the week. Do all the like, share, comment, follow, the things that the algorithm wants you to do, so it will, let us out of the corner. And as always, until next time, keep your stitches sassy, your coffee strong, and your spirit grounded.